What if I told you that the very thing you've been chasing is also chasing you? But it's not running, it's waiting. Waiting for you to stop striving and start aligning. You see, the greatest battles in life are not fought with swords or noise. They are fought in silence, in stillness, in the discipline of patience. But we've been taught that if we don't hustle, we won't have. If we don't push, we won't get. And so we run, we force, we grab. And in doing so, we often miss what was already designed to arrive in its own time. The most powerful force in the universe does not respond to panic. It responds to position. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts, things still don't fall into place? Could it be that you are trying to deliver what was never yours to carry? That the delay is not denial, but a design, a process that's meant to grow you before it rewards you? Because here's the truth. What you deserve is not something you chase, it's something you attract by who you become. So the question is not when will it come? The question is, am I ready for it when it does? The seed does not scream to become a tree. It just submits to the soil. It stays. It grows quietly. And in the right season, it bears fruit. Not because it tried harder, but because it surrendered to the process. And just like that seed, your job is not to make the harvest happen. Your job is to stay rooted, stay calm, and trust that the universe has already scheduled your delivery. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is nothing. To remain still when everything around you is demanding movement. To stay calm when your emotions are screaming for answers. But what if calmness is not weakness? What if stillness is not passivity, but power? We live in a world obsessed with movement. You are told that if you're not doing something, you're falling behind. If you're not seen, you're forgotten. But have you ever considered that some of the greatest things in life don't happen in the noise, but in the silence? You don't hear a seed grow. You don't see the roots stretching beneath the surface, yet something powerful is taking place underground, unseen, unnoticed, but essential. Staying calm is not just about waiting, it's about how you wait. It's about the attitude, the posture, the inner stillness you choose in the middle of uncertainty. And when you learn how to be calm, you begin to master one of the most powerful disciplines in life, trust. Trust is not proven in moments of clarity. It's proven when the fog is thick and the road is uncertain. Let me give you a real life picture. Imagine someone ordering a package online. They've paid the price, filled out the details, and received the confirmation. Now, all they have to do is wait. But what happens if they keep checking the front door every hour? Or worse, they go out to look for the delivery truck themselves, questioning whether the order is even coming. That would look ridiculous, wouldn't it? But that's how most people live. They ask for something, they declare what they want, and then they lose peace trying to make it happen on their own. They don't trust the process. They don't trust the system. They don't trust the timing. What if your panic is delaying the very thing meant for you? What if your anxiety is interrupting the flow that was designed to deliver your breakthrough? Calmness is not inactivity, it's strategic trust. It says, I've already placed the order. I've already done my part. Now I rest. Now I stay positioned because what I deserve will find me when I am ready. Even nature teaches us this. Look at a pregnant woman. Once conception takes place, there's nothing she can do to speed up the process. She cannot force the baby to come in 4 months instead of 9. All she can do is nourish herself, stay healthy, protect the environment around her, and allow time to do its work. There's growth happening inside her that no one can see, but she remains calm, knowing that the due date is already set. The principle here is patience under pressure. That's where your strength is measured, not in how fast you can move, but how deeply you can believe without seeing results. That's where the biblical principle of be still and know applies. It's not a call to laziness, but to alignment. It's a command to stop trying to be your own source, your own savior, your own solution. Ask yourself, what would change in your life if you truly believe that what is meant for you cannot miss you? How would you walk into rooms if you knew that the right opportunities are already circling your life, looking for the right version of you to show up? How would you respond to closed doors if you knew they weren't rejection, but redirection? When you stay calm, you're not being idle. You're declaring that you're in sync with a higher rhythm. You're saying, I don't need to chase what's already mine. You're no longer reacting to pressure. You're rising above it. You're standing in the kind of authority that attracts fulfillment rather than forces it. The moment you master calmness, you send a signal to the universe. I'm ready. And once you're ready, delivery is inevitable. Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase something, the further it seems to run? You pray, you plan, you push, and still things don't seem to shift. You start wondering, what else can I do? You give more. You try harder, but nothing feels enough. What if the problem isn't in your effort, but in your energy? What if chasing is not the key, but alignment is? You see, most people live in a state of desperation. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse noise with significance. But let me ask you, have you ever met someone who seems to get everything they desire without forcing it? Opportunities find them. People are drawn to them. It's as if their life flows in a rhythm the rest of us can't quite access. You might think they're lucky, but it's not luck. It's alignment. There is a law in life that cannot be bypassed. You attract who you are, not what you want. You don't pull in what you chase. You pull in what you prepare for. That's why some people spend years running after the same dreams, the same relationships, the same validation, and they end up exhausted and empty. Because the moment you chase something with anxiety and fear, you're communicating one thing: I don't believe it's mine. And whatever you don't believe belongs to you will never come to stay. Think about this. A magnet doesn't chase metal. It simply holds its charge, and what is attracted comes effortlessly. The question is, what are you attracting by who you are becoming? When you align with your values, your vision, and your internal peace, you begin to draw in the people, the opportunities, and the outcomes that fit the version of you that is whole, not the version that is begging. Desperation is a repellent, but clarity is magnetic. And clarity comes from stillness, not striving. Let me share a picture with you. Imagine walking through a foggy forest with a flashlight. You're looking for a sign, a direction, a glimpse of the path ahead. But in your panic, you keep moving, turning, rushing, trying to force clarity. And the more you move, the more lost you become. But what happens if you stop? What happens if you stand still and allow your eyes to adjust, your heart to settle, and your focus to sharpen? Suddenly, the path reveals itself. Not because it appeared, but because you finally became still enough to see it. The same principle applies in life. When you are calm and aligned, you begin to see differently. You begin to hear guidance that you missed in your noise. You make better decisions, not emotional ones. You don't need to chase because you finally realize you are already enough to receive. That mindset changes everything. So let me ask you, are you living from alignment or from fear? Are you running from something or becoming someone? Because there's a difference between movement and maturity. You can be busy and broken, or you can be still and whole. Life does not reward your panic, it responds to your posture. The right doors don't open for the loudest knock, they open for the right key. That key is who you are when no one's watching. The energy you give off when you stop pretending. The peace you carry when you know you're worthy without proving it to anyone. Alignment is not a tactic, it's a transformation. The moment you stop chasing and start becoming, everything changes. Why do we always feel like we have to do more to deserve more? It's as if we've been wired to believe that worth must be earned and blessings must be chased. From the moment we wake up, the pressure begins. Achieve this, impress them, prove yourself. But let me ask you, how much longer will you keep trying to earn what you were already meant to receive? The world has trained us to believe that rest is laziness and that slowing down means we're falling behind. But what if that constant push is the very thing keeping your blessing at a distance? What if all your striving is making noise in a space that requires silence? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop and receive. Most people confuse preparation with perfection. They think they have to be flawless, spotless, and endlessly busy before they deserve something meaningful. But life doesn't reward perfection, it honors readiness. And readiness doesn't always look like hustle. Sometimes it looks like inner peace. Sometimes it looks like surrendering control and choosing to trust. Let me take you into a real-world example. Picture a farmer. He tills the soil, plants the seed, waters it, and makes sure it gets sunlight. But after that, he doesn't pull the seed out every day to check on it. He doesn't scream at it to grow. He knows better. His job was never to force the fruit, it was to prepare for it. Once the conditions are right, growth becomes inevitable. Not because he worked harder than everyone else, but because he trusted the process. This is exactly how life works. You need to stress over the outcome. You need to become the kind of person who can hold it when it comes. Because if the right thing arrives at the wrong time, it will feel like the wrong thing. And sometimes we sabotage our own blessings, not because they weren't meant for us, but because we weren't ready to receive them. Let me challenge you with this question. Are you really ready for what you're asking for? Or are you just hoping it will fix something you haven't healed yet? Many people want a new season, but they're still carrying the habits, the mindset, and the insecurities of the old one. They say they want peace, but they've trained themselves to only function in chaos. They say they want love, but they don't even trust themselves yet. They say they want success, but they haven't even defined what it truly means to them. You don't attract what you say you want, you attract what you're aligned with, what you believe you deserve deep down. And if you haven't dealt with those internal blocks, no amount of effort will bring in what you're not ready to handle. You will delay your own delivery because you haven't yet stepped into the version of you that's equipped to receive it. Life is not testing how much you can hustle, it's testing how much you can hold. Can you hold stillness when things feel uncertain? Can you hold vision when reality looks opposite? Can you hold character when no one's watching? Because when you're truly ready, The things you've been trying to force will start flowing. The universe responds to order, not chaos. And your inner world must be in order before your outer world aligns. So stop striving, stop begging, stop proving, and ask yourself this: am I becoming the person that my dreams are waiting for? When you become ready, you won't need to chase anything. What you deserve will recognize you, and it will come right on time. Have you ever wondered why life sometimes delays what you feel you're ready for? Why certain things seem just out of reach, no matter how prepared, deserving, or eager you believe you are? It's a frustrating space to live in, that place between I want it and I don't have it yet. But here's something most people never realize. Delay is not always denial. It's often protection, precision, and preparation in disguise. The universe doesn't deliver on your timeline, it delivers on your alignment. And what feels like a delay is often life rearranging the pieces in the background, pieces you can't see, but that matter deeply to your future. It's almost like being at an airport, standing at the gate, luggage in hand, boarding pass ready, but then comes the announcement. Your flight has been delayed. You're frustrated, maybe even angry. But what you don't know is that behind the scenes, the weather is rough. The systems are being recalibrated. And the delay isn't to punish you, it's to protect you from taking off into turbulence you weren't built to survive. So many people get discouraged when what they want doesn't happen fast enough. But timing is not just about the clock. It's about coordination. You might be ready, but maybe the people connected to your next chapter aren't. Maybe the opportunity is still being shaped. Maybe your own foundation still needs strengthening. Not because you're lacking, but because your future is weighty. And your structure must be solid to carry it. Let's go deeper. Think about a skyscraper. Before the beautiful glass exterior goes up, the builders spend months, sometimes years, digging deep, foundations underground. From the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. People passing by might even think the project was abandoned. But the truth is, the deeper the foundation, the higher the building can rise. No one celebrates the digging phase. It's dirty, it's slow, it's unseen, but without it, the building would crumble. Now apply that to your life. What if this season of waiting is actually the foundation being dug for something much taller than you imagined? What if the delay is ensuring that when what you deserve arrives, you won't fumble it? That you'll have the maturity, the clarity, and the strength to sustain it, not just enjoy it for a moment. Sometimes we are so focused on speed that we forget about strength. You don't just want a breakthrough, you want a lasting one. You don't just want to arrive, you want to remain. And anything that comes too soon before you're prepared to manage it can become a burden rather than a blessing. So when things take longer than expected, don't rush to judgment. Don't assume you've been overlooked or forgotten. Instead, ask yourself better questions. What am I learning in this delay? What parts of me are being strengthened? What skills or lessons am I gaining now that will protect me later? Because sometimes the blessing is not in the arrival, it's in who you become while you wait. There's something powerful about a person who doesn't panic and delay. They walk differently. They speak with assurance. They carry a quiet confidence that says, I may not have it yet, but I know it's coming. And when it comes, I'll be ready. That energy is magnetic. That faith is unshakable. And that's what turns delay into destiny. Delay is not the enemy of your dream. It's the refinement of your readiness. There's something deeply powerful about letting go, not because you're giving up, but because you finally understand that holding on too tightly is what's holding you back. We're taught from an early age to control, to manage, to fight for what we want, but no one teaches us the strength of release. No one teaches us that sometimes what we're gripping so tightly is the very thing keeping our hands too full to receive something better. The real breakthrough begins when you stop trying to force life into your plan and start trusting that life knows how to unfold in its own wisdom. You don't need to manipulate timing, people, or circumstances. You need to allow, and be present. The greatest shifts often come not through striving, but through surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. Think about a kite for a moment. The harder the wind blows, the more the kite soars, not because it resists the wind, but because it moves with it. It surrenders to the direction and power of something greater than itself. That's what life is trying to teach you. Your blessings are not always found in resistance. They're found in your willingness to let the wind carry you. But letting go is hard when you've built your identity around the thing you're afraid to release. Maybe it's a relationship, a job, a dream that no longer fits who you're becoming. Maybe it's the fear of being alone. Maybe it's the illusion that you're in control of everything. Letting go means confronting the part of you that doesn't trust things can get better without your constant interfering. Now that's where the real tension lies, in the space between faith and fear. Will you keep managing outcomes out of fear, or will you step into peace even when the outcome is uncertain? The biblical principle that echoes here is simple yet profound. Cast your cares. That's not a suggestion, it's a strategy. It's an instruction that tells you if you want to move forward in life, you cannot carry the weight of the unknown and the burden of outcomes on your own. You have to be willing to release what was never yours to control. Because when you carry what doesn't belong to you, it crushes your spirit. But when you cast it off, you create space for clarity, for growth, for unexpected doors to open. Let me challenge you with this. What are you holding on to that's already let go of you? What decisions are you delaying because you're afraid of what you'll lose instead of focusing on what you could gain? What outdated belief, person, or situation have you allowed to take up residence in your heart long past its expiration date? Release is not weakness, it's wisdom. It says, I've done my part, now I leave room for what I can't control. And here's what most people never realize. Letting go doesn't mean you lose. It means you trust that if it's meant for you, it will return. And if it doesn't, something greater is on the way. Real life confirms this. Think of people who finally walked away from toxic jobs and suddenly opportunities started showing up. Think of those who released a painful past and in doing so found new joy they didn't know was possible. Think of someone who finally forgave and in that forgiveness found peace after years of emotional captivity. The universe makes room for those who make room for themselves. So ask yourself today, not just what you want, but what you're willing to let go of to receive it. Are you open to the unknown, or are you still negotiating with what's familiar but draining? Because until you release, you remain restricted, and the life you deserve, peaceful, powerful, purposeful, doesn't live in your grip. It lives in your ability to let go. So as you stand at the edge of everything you've been hoping for, remember this. You don't need to chase, beg, force, or fight for what's already aligned with your becoming. Stay calm, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. Trust the timing, trust the process. let go of what no longer fits, and hold space for what's already finding its way to you. The universe doesn't operate on panic. It responds to peace. And when you begin to move in clarity, alignment, and trust, you realize that what you truly deserve doesn't come through striving. It comes through surrender. Your calm is not a delay. It is your preparation. And your readiness is the signal that tells life, I'm open, I'm aligned, I'm ready. Thank you for opening your heart, for listening with intention, and for walking this journey of growth with courage. May you rise each day with quiet confidence, knowing that everything meant for you is already on the way. Good luck on your journey, and thank you